Welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus and the FOMC Minutes. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember I'm not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully, please. All right, and I want to welcome everybody who's watching us on YouTube. Now I've got to put my webcam over there. Okay. Um, so if I see the chat, so I can see the chat. All right, so we've done a lot of different testing on this report. And I have to say, we have tried a myriad of different setups. We've tried breakouts, we've tried trap trades, we've tried gold, we've tried everything. Um, so there's no denying that it it has inconsistency. There's also no denying that it's the kind of report that many instruments can move. And what we have found is it changes quite a bit. In other words, you might get a couple of quarters. Well, it's not quarters, but it's 8 times a
Mins.
year that this trade takes place. So sometimes the ES is working well. Sometimes the NQ has been solid. Sometimes there's complete inconsistency in the results. Um, it's definitely a more difficult one of these events to trade. We've had a setup. We've arrived at an ES trap trade. But in thinking about the way that a lot of the recent bank statements have been trading and thinking about what could be happening in the markets, where everybody is extremely focused on the commentary. Will there be rate cuts? Will there not be rate cuts? The possibilities of larger than expected moves are strong. There's a good possibility that there could be larger than expected moves. Now, I just want to show you a couple of DMMs just to give you an idea that I don't make this up. All right. I do a lot of extra research and I go back. And when we go back to the last six with the ES trap trade, it's extremely inconsistent. Okay. Now, there's been quite a few cancels. That tells us it hasn't moved a lot. But the worry, the concern is that it may move more today than we expect. All right. Now, if we look at the most recent DMM, or the most current is the best way to put it. Initially, we thought it might make sense to be pretty aggressive on the tiers. I mean, not outrageous, but 18 and 25, 18 and or 18 and 27 with a stop of 20. But what I've been thinking, and it might make sense to go with bigger brackets today. What's the worst thing that happens if your brackets are too big? What's the worst thing that happens? You don't get a fill. Wouldn't you rather not have a fill than have it go everything the wrong direction and just not be the right setup? It blows through the tiers. I'd rather not get filled than be wrong about the setup. So initially, I was thinking a tighter set of tiers might make sense. But in really thinking about this report, I do think that we should go with slightly bigger tiers. It's not unbelievably outrageous, but it's going to be a little bit bigger than what's on the DMM. So instead of 18 and 25, I'm going to go 22 and 31. Okay. And I think it just gives us a little bit more breathing room. Um, when there were good moving reports, it'll still fill. If it's a terrible mover today, then it won't fill, and that would not be the end of the world. Anyway, it's just not the end of the world if you don't get a fill. We know that. We know that. We've learned that over the years. Okay. Chantal, um, would you make any changes? Are you here? Did Chantal, was she speaking? I thought she was here. Now, why is my webcam not showing up on YouTube? That's a mystery. I have to figure that out, but it's not. Anyway, that'll be for another day. You could see there's already some pre-minutes volatility. Okay. Oh, now it's showing up. Why does that make sense? I know why. Okay. I know why. It's there. I just couldn't see it. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. For me, it's definitely a trap trade. We have not had a good breakout. We've used the NQ. It has not been rewarding. Occasionally it works, often it doesn't. It just hasn't been good. And on the ES, I'm going to go with the 20 stop, and I'm just going to go with slightly bigger brackets. I don't see why. Let's give Chantal one more minute about the MES tiers. I'm going to go with 22 and 31. 22 and 31. I think we're going to get a pretty big move, and that's my concern, is that we're going to get a big move. If I'm wrong, then fine. I don't care if I'm wrong. The time of the event on the trap trade is 1400, right? Don't forget, I'm using the slightly different version, so my time is different. Position size 1 is a 1, position size 2 is a 1. I'm using a stop of 20. Time of event is 1400 hours, 5-second prep, 5-second prep. Okay, 5-second prep. And tiers 22 and 31. I think it's very possible that we're going to hit the tiers. I really do. That it's going to work. Now, don't really have I don't really have a second setup. I mean, it's certainly possible that the NQ could move on this report. It's certainly possible that gold could move on this report. This is the kind of report. Now, gold is extremely negative today. It's the kind of report that you could do some bad discretionary trading. You know, you could chase. It's the kind of report that you could do foolish things. And it's also sometimes the kind of report that just doesn't have as much of an impact as we often expect. That's why it's sometimes inconsistent, because sometimes it has much more of an impact than we expect. All right. And then other times it just doesn't have all that big of an impact. So it's an inconsistent event. That's the reality. Do I want to set up anything for gold? So if gold, possibly traveled up to the VWAP, which I absolutely do not expect, it's just too far away. Um, I don't think, gold getting to the low. Do you want to take a long on gold when it's down over $30? It's hard to do that. So I think you just have to be careful. You just have to be careful. Um, on the breakout, you don't want to do, you could do 59. It usually is not early, so you don't need to put the order on the chart. On the trap, it's 1400 even. The time of the event is 1400, 2 p.m., right? And preparation is 5 seconds. That's the way you set up your trap. The new trap trade software is just going to have um, exact time like the breakout trades, but you don't have that yet. Soon. And I want to say hello to everybody watching on YouTube. Hit that like button and hit the notification bell. We're doing a lot more streaming. So let me show you a trap trade on the ES. Where is my video? So hang on 1 second. Maybe I didn't record it. Is that possible? It is possible. All right, let's look at last. Okay, welcome everyone to Pro
See what
Trade
we
Room
did. I
Plus.
believe
We were doing the trap last month. I know the trap can be scary because, you're in a trade and you never know what if it doesn't reverse. And that's why the trap trade is scary because you could be in a trade and you're waiting and you feel like you're in the middle of the street without any clothes on. I mean, that's the best way I would describe why a trap trade is so uncomfortable. And when it reverses, that's when all of a sudden someone threw you all your clothes and you can get dressed. Now, last month I did the test with the smaller tiers and the slightly bigger tiers as well, and they both worked perfectly. I did give it some time. I gave it a minute. And it was tricky too. Sometimes the reversal can bounce around a bit. So the trap trade can be hard to manage. Sometimes you get filled with one tier and then it looks like it's reversing. And like in this case, it did, but it could have gone back down and tried to fill the tier. And in this case, look how far back it retraced. Sometimes it will do that and you won't get much profit because you'll have think it started to reverse and you'll cancel your outer tier and it'll work. Or it won't, it'll change direction. Last time it was a one tier trade for pretty decent. And then the NQ, we've had a breakout on the NQ that honestly, I just not a fan. Not a fan. Let's look at one more in February. And you could see there's quite a few that haven't filled. So if I'm wrong and there's not very much of a move, then we're not going to get a fill. Am I going to go cry in a corner? No, it happens. So I figured out what's making noise on the dog. It's his stupid air tag. Why does an air tag make noise? I didn't think they made noise. Anybody know? I'm not an Apple person. I thought maybe he swallowed one of my earbuds. And he was going to make noise for the rest of his life till the battery died in the earbud. That'd be pretty funny. That'd be very funny, actually. It wouldn't happen. I don't think you'd hear it. His stomach, his stomach acids would kill the earbud. Anyway, you could see that we did have another one tier trade finally where you could get your stop into safety. Now it was not, doesn't look like there was a whole heck of a lot of profit to grab in February if you got your stop into safety there. So it can be tricky to manage a trap. See, it wound up being very good, very good. I think there's a strong possibility we'll get a change in direction. The key is are the size of our brackets, tiers, whatever you want to call them, big enough to handle the move? And I think we're going to be okay. I think therefore I am. Let's get our time on the chart. Let's check our time sync. I don't really. I was going to put a gold reversal trade on the chart. What's an air tag? It's an Apple tracking device, Roz, where if you lose something, you can track it and it shows you where it is. They're really popular. Stalkers love them. Stalkers love them. They put it in a person's like suitcase that they're stalking and they can track them. No joke. I think Apple did something to prevent that. I don't remember what it is. It hasn't stopped me. Time dot is. I think they're all over the world, Roz. I think they're all over the world. So I am going to set up something on gold. I don't really anticipate much. I'll really be paying attention to the ES because the trap will probably need to be managed. So I'm even
At 2
tempted
p.m.
not to
Eastern
do
Time, we get the
anything
FOMC meeting
with gold.
minutes.
But it's always nice to have an extra setup. It can't hurt. You don't have to do it. So I'll set up a reversal, just one position, and we'll go for like 25 ticks with a 20 tick stop on top step. Not a 20 tick target one stop move, but a 20 tick stop. So remember, all you need is a position, a target, and a stop to make the reversal trade work. Always label it so you can differentiate it from your other event, other strategy trade. And then I'll put it on top step. So there, if something interesting happens with gold, maybe I'll have an opportunity. And We've got our trap. Make sure your charts are spread wide enough apart. If you don't see your orders 5 seconds before the news, shrink your chart down. Okay. Make sure that your charts are horizontally wide enough so you see the combine button. That's the last button. You should see BE for break even. Close the trade, adjust the brackets. We don't use it right now. Cancel the outer tier, combine the orders. Okay, make sure you see all of those buttons. If you don't, then make your chart a little bit wider. All right? There's been kind of a strange trading day. I'm trying to think, what was our first event? Existing homes, right? All right, so now we're just waiting. We have about 6 minutes or so. Let's go back in time. What were we doing in July? It's coming up a year from now. So back in July, my guess is something with the NQ. No, we were still doing the ES trap and more aggressive, a little bit more aggressive on the size of the tiers. It was smaller. So there's been inconsistency on the moves. There's no doubting that. There's no question about it. So back in July, we were using 15 and 30, pretty big on the top. And let's see what happened. Not much of a move, initially, anyway. Now, this is the kind of report that you could get nothing, and then 20 seconds later, it could start to move. So I'll probably give it a minute at least. Now, my webcam understands signals. Like, I can give my webcam hand signals, and it does all sorts of stuff. It never seems to recognize them, though. So, not a very big move back in July. Not anything to write home about. That's for sure. Just not a big move. Everybody good? Everyone's so quiet. Who's trading what? Who is trading what? So on the
2 p.m. Eastern
MES,
time, we get the FOMC meeting minutes.
on the MES, I think I would, I don't have a problem. Did Chantal ever answer on the MES? I don't have a problem using the same brackets, the same tiers. I mean, I might use a slightly bigger stop if you're willing to take the risk. I mean, the MES is, isn't it 50 cents a tick? I think it's 50 cents a tick. I think usually she increases the tiers by 3 to 5 ticks. And that would still keep you in very close to the largest setup that we've had on this report. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to do the 3 in the morning trade room this morning. I'm just not 100% yet. But I would absolutely trade both the French and the German flash manufacturing reports, pretty much as the DMM is set up. All right, we still have a few minutes. We have 3 minutes. Um, I've
Goldman
got
Sachs CEO Solomon sees
my
zero rate
squawk
hike
box
for
in my ear.
2024.
But really, the way that this works is they will just start reading notes from the news over and over. In other words, they'll just keep presenting the information from the minutes. It's almost impossible to know what the response is going to be to those comments. The ES is $12.50 per tick. Yes, if that's what you were asking over there on YouTube, 12.50. A lot of instruments are 12.50. Copper's 12.50. What else is 12.50? There's something else really popular that's 12.50. Maybe it's copper that I was thinking. So I'll try to speak through what I'm doing on the trap if that's the type of trap trade that we get. In other words, if it isn't super fast, which we haven't seen a lot of super fast ones on this report. It's not the FOMC statement. The FOMC statement can be so incredibly volatile. This report doesn't usually approach that at all.
1 minute remaining.
So I hear the squawk box. 1 minute remaining. There's really nothing. MB, we put our orders on the chart 5 seconds before the news, but we don't really anticipate doing anything until the actual time of the event. But our orders go on the chart 5 seconds early. And that is adjustable from different
10
events.
seconds.
Different events might have different
Order
times the
submitted.
orders are put on the chart. Okay, so the news is now out. It's going to fill.
So participants at the Fed's meeting assessed it
Oh,
would
maybe
take
not.
longer than
It came
previously
really
anticipated to
close.
gain greater confidence in
Really
inflation moving
close.
sustainably to
So
2%. A
now,
couple of participants said it would be useful to begin discussions of appropriate longer run maturity composition of Fed's portfolio. Almost all participants supported the decision to begin to slow the pace of
so
decline of
now we
central
had to
bank
move
security
Order
holdings.
down.
canceled.
A
Okay.
few could have supported continuation of the current pace. Participants
Bringing
from Fed's
down my
future policy
target.
path
Okay.
would depend on incoming data, the evolving
It still
outlook,
could
and the
fill
balance of
both.
risks.
It still
Many
could fill
participants
both.
commented on their
If
uncertainty about the degree of policy
if I think
restrictiveness.
it's going to start
Various
moving up, I'm going
participants
to
mentioned
press the
willingness to
cancel
tighten
outer
policy
tier
further
button,
should risks to the outlook materialize and make such action appropriate.
and that's what
Order
I'm going to
canceled.
do. Move my stop to safety. No matter what happens now, I cannot lose on this trade. I can trail it up Now, if it decides to go down from here, I'm not going to make all that much money. I'm not going to move my target, my stop.
Order canceled.
All
The
right,
Fed
so
staff's
I was
economic
just
projection
saying
was similar to the
I'm
March
not going
outlook,
to
but
move
noted
my
that
stop.
deteriorating household financial positions, especially for
I
lower
wasn't
income
prepared to
households,
move my
might prove to
stop
be a bigger
further down.
drag
I
on activity
wanted
than
to
anticipated.
protect a little bit of profit. I might be sorry. Depends what
Participants
it
noted
does
recent
right
data
now.
had not increased confidence in progress towards
If it
2%
pushes
and suggested
down
disinflation process would take
based
longer
on the
than
news,
previously thought.
based on this big sell off before the news, if maybe there's something the market was telling us, I'm not sure. That was one of the reasons why I did what I did. Let's watch. No harm done at the moment. Did the breakout work, folks? It looks like it would have. Donald is Mr. Nopa Crush. If it wasn't for Donald, we would not know about Nopa. So thank you, Donald, for helping everyone today.
US stocks add slightly to losses following the Fed
And it would
minutes.
have been a
US
very
10-year
good
Treasury yields
breakout
edge up
today.
from near session
Okay?
lows after the Fed
But
meeting
we don't
minutes,
know
closed
that.
at
It hasn't been a good
4.462%.
breakout for quite a while. Today it was good. My guess is the NQ probably was a good breakout. But we would have got stopped out on the trap if you didn't get your butt out of that trade when we did. Okay? So there were a couple of signs in the market that a downward move might have been in the cards. Big sell off before the report, consolidation, then, it did not have a good reversal. But it was good enough that it gave us an opportunity to at least grab a few dollars before it failed. So I hope everybody got themselves out of the trap trade. The market felt heavy. I have to say it. The market felt heavy. Gold, it didn't get to the low. All right, that might have been an area of
The Dixie
interest.
last up
Didn't get
0.2% to
there. I would bet
104.79.
that the NQ probably had a move somewhat similar, maybe to the ES. So today would have been a good breakout, but we have not done the breakout in a long time on this report. So you can't cry in a corner over it. You just cannot. You can't drive yourself crazy. That's okay, Ross. Don't sweat it. That's a good profit on MES. You cannot drive yourself crazy on a report that's inconsistent. You cannot. What's the point? What's the point? Why would you want to do that to yourself? So hopefully everybody should have made a little bit of money. Little bit of money was available. Okay. I want to thank everybody on YouTube. I'm going to close our YouTube stream. Thank you for watching on YouTube and hit the like button. Hit the notification button too so you know the next time we're streaming. And thank you for joining